All right, we got Victoria Singleton here today with us, and she's going to talk about her experience in real estate and just give us some tips and some information about how she began in real estate and what she likes about it, what she finds challenging. But yeah, she'll give us some information about what she likes about real estate and how she ended up here. So this should be exciting. So say hi, Victoria, to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so first question, I'm just kind of curious. You've been on the team here with us for how long now? It's been almost 2
Year and a half. Yeah, we'll reach 2 in about January, end of January.
Okay, I can't keep up, so it feels like you've been here for the entirety of the So that's a compliment, of course. So quick question for you, you weren't on the team at the beginning, you've been in real estate for a couple of years. What drew you to real estate to even start with?
So my former career, I was actually a teacher, and I remember there was one day when there was another teacher who was also a real estate agent.
Yeah.
She would talk about that's what she would do in the summers. And as teachers, we're always looking for more income, especially in the summertime or winter breaks and things of that nature. And, she said to me, she's like, Victoria, you would be really good at this. You're such a people person. Like, you love to help people. This might be a really good avenue for you. And I thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then what I did was when my oldest was about a year old in the summertime, I found a pre-licensing class that was Saturday and Sundays. So my husband could watch, our daughter, and it was like all day long, 8 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, for probably like 6 or 7 weeks. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really loved it. I just said to myself, how can I do this and still help people? And at the time I was like, I'm going to continue teaching.
Yeah.
Then I got to the point where I realized I didn't want to teach anymore. The list got longer and longer why that wasn't quite the right profession for me. And so then I jumped into real estate. And I will tell you, jumping into real estate as a single agent can be quite hard. I know every brokerage has some approach to supporting their new agents, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But when you're trying to jump in while you're still in another career and you're not there for the meetings or the trainings, it's really, really difficult. And even when I went full time in real estate, I really needed support.
Yeah.
I think I knew I was really good at what I was doing, but I knew I had a long way that I could go to get better.
Yeah.
So I'd spoken with someone who I consider one of my mentors, who has been highly successful in real estate, but she's actually come out of the transactional side. And, she said, well, maybe you would benefit from being on a team. And, that's how I initially met you.
Yeah.
So, I remember we had a conversation, and one of the things that stuck out about our conversations, you said to me, like a team in honesty in real estate really should be to help you to grow, to help you feel like you can walk into a listing appointment or walk into a buyer's appointment and you feel confident, you know what you're going to say, you know what you're going to talk about, and you're going to be ready to handle any, objections or concerns. And because I knew the process, I already knew the paperwork. But sometimes it really comes down to knowing what to say and how to handle different situations that come up.
Yeah.
Because I'd already learned, even before I joined the team, that every transaction is different.
It is.
And you just never know what you might face.
Yeah.
So, you said, I really want to help my agents to grow and to feel, confident.
Yeah.
And I thought, that just kind of makes him stand out a little bit from other team leaders that I've spoken to, because it's very much a teaching atmosphere. What I saw in you was that teacher role of wanting to invest in your agents and teach them and help them to grow and use your expertise of 18 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, it's funny. So I've been in this 18 years now, which I think you just said. It's, I'm learning something in every single transaction. I'm learning something every time an agent joins the team, or we bring a new admin on, or, if somebody decides that this isn't the right fit, we always learn something. I think that's a big thing. It's being learning based, whether it's me as the person that's bringing new team members on, or selling a home, or, helping someone list whatever, or helping you guys. It's always a learning experience. So it's interesting that kind of ties into your your former profession of being a teacher,
Yeah.
that we're always learning based. And I find that the most successful realtors are very learning based. I mean, and that's, so why would that be different for me as somebody who's leading the team? Another question I have for you is, what have you found the most rewarding about just the business in general? Not necessarily the team, but just like being in real estate in total.
Truthfully, it's being able to help my clients. So, I can give you that stereotypical line of it's your biggest decision you're going to make in your life, or your most costly. And of course, all that's true.
Yeah.
But what brings me the most passion, the most joy is the look that my clients get on their face when I see them at the closing table, when I've had clients who never thought they were going to own their own house, or they never thought that they were going to profit that much from an investment they made 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's being able to help them reach their goals, whether it's moving closer to family, or unfortunately, selling their parents' home who has passed away. Those are hard things to do. Change is hard. Or even if it's something that seems positive, like a family moving to the Charlotte region for a new job, you have to consider, like, it's not just the buyer, it's also their family and how their family is accommodating, and what can I do to help that transition for them. For example, one of my clients, he has 2 teenage boys, and was really concerned and worried about them moving from Texas to here because they loved Texas, right? They had their friends there, they had their clubs and activities they did there, and Charlotte, North Carolina is different than Texas.
It is quite different.
And so it really, but it was a challenge for me to take on, to find a school and an environment in an area that was going to fit not just the parents' needs and, in terms of proximity to the commute for work and things like that, but also to help out their boys. And they have dogs, and I'm a huge dog lover, and I'm like, okay, well, it's important for them to have a place where they can walk the dogs, and is their backyard fenced, and like, it's just solving problems, whether they're small or big, just taking the load off of their shoulders is the most rewarding thing for me, for sure.
Well, and every customer you work with is different. Everybody has different situations. Sometimes it's a great situation, they're excited to get there, and maybe they're move up home. Other times it's a sad situation, they're leaving an area they love, or they've had the loss of a loved one, or a divorce situation, whatever it may be. It's
right.
I would say buying or selling a home is almost always a big life event that causes it. So you're having to walk through like the emotions of them, but then also, helping them achieve the goal for their next step in life, whatever that may be. And that's something, frankly, I like, as well as being able to help people through whatever the situation is. And sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, it's challenging. Like, I'm sure you've seen that. There are a lot of challenges and a lot of high emotions, but to see them cross that finish line, or especially the ones that never thought they may own a home, and then boom, they have a home, and maybe in 3 to 5 years they call you again and they build a bunch of equity in the home, and now you're helping them either buy their next one or stay there for whatever it may be. It is a lot of fun. So that's something like you, I do enjoy.
So this happened a couple of times, which I'm very glad it's happened more than once. I provide a seller net sheet, we both do. Everyone on our team does that, and it, allowing the sellers to see what they're going to walk away with, right?
Hold that thought for just a second. Guys, a seller net sheet is what you're going to walk away with after all fees are paid once you sell your home. So sometimes people don't know what that is. So I wanted to just interject that real quick. So go ahead.
So, I've sat down in listing appointments or like a follow-up appointment, and we're like, okay, if we list it at this price, we're going to go ahead and deduct all the things that you're going to have to pay, because North Carolina and law and government, all, they have to get their money. And then, of course, if you have a mortgage, you have to pay that off. But for them to see their walk away dollar amount being way more than they expected, and they can say to me, wow, not only can we pay off that car that we have, but we can also take a chunk of that and put it to the next house and reduce our mortgage. It's like, again, it's solving problems that they may not have even thought was possible. So
that is quite interesting. That you show them that net sheet, and they're like, wow, I'm gonna put $100,000 in my pocket. That could be life changing for certain people. So it's that is really cool. And that's part of one of the things you just mentioned, showing them what they're going to walk away with sometimes shows them, hey, listen, you've got this option that could help you financially, or you've got enough where you can go buy your move up home because maybe you have a life change coming, maybe you have another child, whatever it may be, you can help with that. So that's pretty cool. Another question I had that I was looking at earlier, what have you found the most surprising about the real estate market? I'm kind of curious about it. I've got some ideas of what I've had, but I'm more curious about you.
I feel like, when you're working with someone, even if it's someone you've known for a long time, the emotions run very high, right? Especially when you're talking about someone's finances.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I like to do when I'm working with clients, especially clients who I've known for years, when we first start talking about the financial side, I say, look, and especially this is for buyers who are going to use a mortgage. I say to them, look, I understand that, we've had a long-standing friendship or, whatever the relationship may be. And I completely respect the fact that you may not want me in your numbers, in your finances, and that's completely fine. And I want you to know that up front so that you don't feel like you have to feel uncomfortable with me knowing what your salary is or what your debt may be or things like that. I said, that's why I partner with a lender who is going to tell me only the pertinent things that I need to know. And it's never going to be your account balances or things like that. I think that's a concern that I try to alleviate from the get-go, because I think sometimes when people say, oh, I don't want to work with a friend, I don't want them in my personal business, I fully respect that.
Yeah.
But my job is not to look at your numbers. That's what I have a lender for.
Yeah.
That's why we have preferred lenders that we trust and we know who can do a good job with you and give you all the options for the numbers. I just need to know what numbers are going to work for you.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you mine. Okay. I'll tell you my biggest surprise. Almost 18 years in, my biggest surprise is how many friends I've made through this business, how many clients that over the years that I've met and that maybe I didn't even know before we did a real estate transaction. And now they're some of my closest people. They're some of my biggest fans and I'm some of theirs. I've literally have business partners that, I kind of knew them before.
Yeah.
Before we did a real estate transaction, but then I got to know them better and we all clicked and boom, then next thing you know, you're doing literally have businesses together. I mean, that has been my biggest surprise. The other one is sometimes people do show their true colors whenever you're talking about money. And you also learn about people if they're really hot-headed or if when things get crazy that, if they're calm and collective and can handle things. So that's been another one. But the biggest thing for me is probably the amount of friends that I've made over the years, through real estate. So
it's funny that you say that and talking about friends. So literally a week ago, my Saturdays, which normally is me hosting open house, was not filled with an open house. It was filled with two really, really special events. One was a birthday party for a 2-year-old, and the other one was a baby shower. Both of those families were clients that I helped out this year. In fact, the one that is, had the baby shower, I was literally like the second person that they told that they were expecting, because on the day that we did their final walkthrough and their day of their closing, that's how they told me. We were standing in their kitchen, and that is a day I will never forget. Because one of the things I gave them in their closing gifts was this bright pink, Barbie pink stemware set, just 2 wine glasses. And the mom said to me, she's like, oh my gosh, because her favorite color is pink. Oh my gosh, I love this, but I'm not going to be able to use it for wine. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I was like, oh my God, you're pregnant. And that moment, that moment, and then the joy of them closing was the most important thing. I don't, you don't always remember the ins and outs of a transaction, but the moments like that will stay with me forever.
Yeah, they will. I mean, you're gonna meet people. The other thing that hits me too, though, is to recognize that also on the flip side, not everybody's going to be your friend. And it does happen sometimes. Like you have this relatively close relationship because let's be real, people are telling you a lot of personal stuff, and then you close and you
talk to them like almost every day,
and then you close, and then you can't get them to call you back or give you a positive review, and nothing has happened. The other funny thing about that, a lot of people that's happened to me over the years, they'll call you years later. Ask you to, or they'll send you a referral, or they'll ask you to list their home, and you're like, I didn't think they liked me anymore. And it's not that at all. It's not that they don't like you. It's that you're just not going to be besties, and it has been kind of interesting that I've seen over the years too. But yeah, you will get to know them. And I'll say this too, a huge opportunity that a lot of realtors miss is, like you just said, you talk to people every single day during a real estate transaction, or you or your team does, and you're helping them and all this, and you get close with them, and then they close, and then the realtor doesn't talk to them again, or barely talks to them again, and that is a huge opportunity, because you got to think about it. Put the shoe on the other foot. How would you feel? You were super close, and now the agent doesn't talk to you anymore.
Right.
That makes them think this is transactional. So it's something I wanted to mention to agents who might be watching this is don't do that.
No, because, don't do that.
And it can be just a simple text, hey, I was just checking in on you. That's more than adequate. For that.
You have to remember to stay genuine, right? You have to remember that these are people, and this is very much a relational business.
Yeah.
I truly believe, unfortunately, that some agents look at it as very transactional, and unfortunately look at it as a paycheck. But I know that, on our team, that's not how we run our business.
Not at all.
It's very much relational, and it's taking care of the client, not only before and having that relationship with them if you happen to know them before, but during and after.
Yeah.
After is just as important as during.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, while you're in the transaction, there's a lot going on. You're doing everything you possibly can, but even after the fact, checking in on them, making sure that, if they have a need, like all of a sudden they need a plumber.
Yeah.
Or they're like, I bought this big house. Probably should have thought about how much time I'm going to have to spend cleaning it. Just giving them a house cleaner.
Yeah.
Or just checking in and saying, hey, how's that going? Or, they mentioned to you that they want to add a deck, and you happen to see a picture on Facebook of them with their new deck.
Yeah.
It's moments like that that are awesome.
Well, that's another thing. Like, if you're on social media, add your clients to social media if you like them, because that's an easy way to just comment, and you can see what they're doing, and you can shoot a quick note like, hey, I saw, whatever, a kid scored a goal in soccer, whatever it may be, looked like he or she's doing well. There's just a lot of little things that humanize you, because, a lot of people look at us as the big scary realtor. They don't look at us as, humans a lot of times until they get to meet us. And then they're like, oh, they're just normal people, and that's something that I feel like I've always been pretty good at doing. And I've always worked to pass that on to the team members also. Just be normal, just be human, help them out, help them achieve their goals. And I always say, if you do a good job for people, they'll, the money will come. You don't have to be transactional, have commission breath. It's just do a good job for them, and they'll pass people, they will refer people to you probably for a lifetime. Obviously I'm glad to hear you're doing that and already knew that. But another question for you. What is one piece of advice you would give yourself whenever you started in real estate?
I would definitely say stay consistent. So this is a quote that I got from Steve. And he's kind of corny sometimes, but that's okay. He's a dad, what can I say? But it was something to I don't know the exact wording, but it was essentially like, don't take your foot off the gas. You have to keep going, because in a lot of businesses, it's not always happy and easy and goes the way you expect it. You have to just keep pushing. You cannot give up.
Yeah.
And you're going to have doors that are going to be slammed. You're going to have people surprise you in good ways and not so good ways.
Yeah.
But you have to keep pushing. And I would say, if I was to narrow it down to one word that's going to make anyone successful in this business, it's consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency. That is the number one thing that you have to do in order to be successful, because it's going to take you a while. I just had someone recently reach out to me, literally like 2 days ago, and they said, you make it look so easy. And talking about real estate. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm exhausted every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I work my tail off every day.
Yeah.
Not only as a realtor, but also as a mom and a wife. Like, there's a lot on my plate, but I also know that if you continue to work hard and you do right by people, the doors will open, the things will come together, you will solve the problems that you need to. And that's what the definition of success is in my book. To me, it's not the paycheck. It's the helping the people, and while also balancing being a mom and a wife. So
and
consistency.
This is something I will say too. I'm going to cut you off, but the consistency piece of it.
Mhm.
As you're more consistent and as you continue to build that business, it's going to get easier. So it's harder at the beginning because you're building that book of business. But as you continue to move forward and continue working with more and more people, you're going to start getting repeat business, and you're going to start getting more and more referrals. And I think that's what a lot of people have a hard time with, is understanding it is not easy at the beginning. It's just not, but nothing that's worth doing is going to be easy at the beginning. You've got to get through the struggles, so then it becomes easier. So you are being very consistent. You've been doing a really good job of that over the years, and that's why I feel like you've been selling a lot of properties now. You're starting to even get repeat business.
Yeah.
And I think by the time you're with us by year 3, I think that's when you're really going to be hitting your stride, and it's going to be like, wow, all this business started coming in, and you're going to say, you're probably not going to say it, but you might think it like, I didn't even have to work for that. Well, you did work for it, but maybe you worked for it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that you didn't work for it at all and the deals just fell in your lap. No,
Right.
fell in your lap
Right.
because of something you did 2 years ago, or you
Yeah.
did a great job for somebody at the beginning. So consistency is the number one thing, and
For sure.
always, the number one job that we have as realtors is obviously to help our customers and do a great job for them. But for us to be successful business people, we have to put ourselves out there, and we have to make sure that we are prospecting and not being a secret agent. Because if you just sit and wait for the business to come, you could be the best realtor in the world, but if you don't have anybody to work to show that, then what are you doing?
Right.
So you got to put that out there to the world, and you've done a really good job of that since you've been on the team. And I'm sure you were doing it before, but I know from the time that you're with us that's the case. All right, so I don't know if you'll have an answer for this. So what do you have a funny story in real estate, like as far as like you were showing a house and something funny happened, or you were you had a meeting with somebody and something crazy happened? I've got a lot of them, but
I don't know. I've definitely seen some intriguing things,
Yeah.
some sketchy things, I would say. Like last weekend, I was showing a house, and we showed up 5 minutes early for the showing, and I thought, okay, it's 5 minutes, no problem. And we walked in, and we had my client's granddaughter with us, and she ran up the stairs to check out the upstairs. And lo and behold, there was someone upstairs, and I come up the stairs, and I was like, you weren't expecting it.
you had somebody in the house.
I have.
That's probably honestly my biggest surprises over the years, is like you go to a showing, you have it scheduled during the time, and maybe the son didn't get the message that realtors are coming, during that time, because the parents didn't really have a message. That's probably my biggest surprise. It's like, oh gosh, there's somebody here.
Yeah.
There have been, I've had some sketchy situations too. You got to make sure you're safe. But the
for
biggest
sure.
surprise that even I've had is kind of similar to you. Somebody's at the house and you weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
That's always one of the things I do. Like, I don't care if there's no car in the driveway and I think it's a vacant home. Every time I open a door, I knock on the door as I'm opening it, and I'll yell through the house, "Hey, is anybody here? Steven Mueller, Realtor." Just a safety thing there.
Yeah.
And that's something, a little tip for agents that are maybe watching this as well. As you're open, knock on the door and let them know you're there at least. But so it's an interesting business for sure. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I asked you some questions. I didn't know if you had anything in particular that you wanted to share with other agents, or somebody who might be thinking about joining a team, or somebody who might be thinking about getting into the business, or anything like that.
So I will say it is, I think a lot of people come into real estate as their second career. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But what can be very hard is if you are still working your primary job and you're trying to do real estate on the side, or only on the weekends or at night, it can be very, very challenging.
Yeah.
And so what you need to do to understand, well, first off, you need to understand that when you work in real estate, you don't get paid immediately.
Yeah. Takes a minute.
So you need to prepare yourself. You need to probably put at least 3 months worth of reserves on the side.
Yeah.
Before you try to jump ship and change professions, because that first paycheck could take you a long time.
Yeah.
Some people are very fortunate; it comes quickly. I would say, but even if you just happen to walk into a transaction, you're looking at least 30 to 45 days before you get your first paycheck, at least.
Yeah.
But that's very rare.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes people 6 months. 8 months, 12 months.
Get your first paycheck.
It
takes a minute. You got to start building a foundation. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think too, who you surround yourself with in the business makes a huge difference too. So if you know that you're limited on time, if you know that you have a primary job and you're trying to do real estate on the side, you need to do a little bit of research about who you're surrounding yourself with, because your time is just so precious. And if you want to do real estate only on the weekends or only in the evenings or whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you have people who are experienced and aren't in it for themselves, that they're in it to actually help you, and are available to answer your questions. They're not just what I call face value, where they're like, oh yeah, call me if you have a question. No, they literally answer, or they answer a text, or, it may be out of their regular hours that they might respond to most people, but they're willing to help you because that's what's in their heart. That's one of my favorite parts about being on the team, is the ability to help our newer agents who aren't as seasoned. It brought me nothing but joy. I mean, I sat the other day and went through the offer to purchase with one of our teammates, and page by page, this is what you put here, this is what you need to ask your clients about, like, so that she could feel like I know exactly what I'm going to do, because she mentioned my client wants to make an offer, but I don't know what to do. I want to take that concern off of her plate and be able to have her feel like I got this. And I reminded her too, I said, I went over a lot. So call me, ask me. If you forgot everything I said, so be it. I'm happy to go back over it with you. I mean, that's what you need. In real estate, when you're a brand new agent, you have to have people who are more seasoned and are going to be there for you to help you.
And I'll tell you, as a team lead, that is huge and very appreciated from me that first of all, you're willing to do it, and other, not just you, of course, the entire team's willing to do that. That's huge, because I'm only one person. I got the same amount of hours everybody else does, but it's really nice because now everybody, including you, is kind of helping each other out. So it's that's a really nice kind of pat on the back for me as well. And that's just the culture. That is the culture that I've always been working to build, is we all help each other out, and we just have good people on the team. And you obviously included in that. But I appreciate you taking a little bit of time today to to do a little video and talk about your experiences, not only with the team, but just in real estate in general. And I know that you're going to have a very successful career. Hopefully it's with us for a long, long time. But I know you're going to do really well, and you're already doing really well. Once again, I appreciate you just being on the team. You taking a little bit of time with us today.
Absolutely. I'm very appreciative. I mean, I truly am someone who believes that things happen for a reason. And, there's a big thank you to my mentor who brought me into this team, because I would never have known about the team if it wasn't for her. And just to see how much I've grown, not just, how many transactions or, what my sales volume is, but like just as an individual agent, and the confidence I feel and knowing how to handle different things now, it's just, I can't even put it to words. Like, it's so different. Someone said to me actually last night, I was at a networking event, and they said, Victoria, like, do you remember 3 years ago what you were looking for, what you were hoping for? And they're like, you don't see it necessarily, but you're checking off a lot of these things that you said that you wanted to be able to do. And that's because of our team.
Well, that's another pat on the back for us. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time today and having a little interview with you. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen over the next years moving forward.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, cool. Well, have a good rest of your day. I hope this information is helpful for you guys. And if you're looking for a team, we'd love to have the opportunity to help. And hopefully everybody has a great real estate career.